Okay, here we are. Okay, so welcome everyone, and uh, welcome to our webinar, Coaching and Arts, and this is brought to you by Coach Masters Academy as a part of our continuous professional development. At CMA, we are very proud and very attached to the continuous development of our students and our graduates. So every month we have events, we have a live demo demonstration, and it is our honor for Alina and myself to have this webinar tonight and talk to you, introduce to you to some tools and some practices that we have been experimenting in our coaching practice. So my name is Ngoc, and I am based in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City. I am a coach supervisor, and I graduated from CMA from the 28th cohort. So I have seen the growth of CMA, and it was also exciting, such a beautiful journey, and I'm so honored and proud to be part of it. So I've been coaching for 6 years, and I am holding a PCC credentials with ICF. I work with individuals and with organizations, and also with teams. And beside of my professional coaching practice, I also do some classes and workshops in movement and coaching, and I have been doing this for 1 year. So I'm very, very excited to share this with you tonight. And with me, we have Alina, Ionescu. So Alina, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Ngoc, and I'm really grateful and honored to be here with all of you today. And I would like to thank each and every one of you for choosing to be here with us. And I really hope that we are going to have a meaningful learning experience together that will support us and our clients in our continuous journey for personal and professional growth and development. So my name is Alina Ionescu. Yeah, Ngoc, you have something?
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to invite all our participants to mute themselves until the end of the webinar, when they will be asking questions and we will be answering them. Thank you so much, so that we don't have background noises. Sorry, back to you, Alina.
Okay, great. Yeah, sure. So my name is Alina Ionescu. I'm a professional certified coach with ICF. I'm located in Bucharest, Romania. I joined CMA more than 2 years ago with cohort 115, and I'm a coach supervisor with CMA. I also have more than 24 years of leadership experience, both in corporate environments and as an entrepreneur serving organizations. I work with leaders to achieve sustainable changes and to make a positive impact in their lives and in the workplace through the power of coaching. So I would like to share now the screen with you. Okay, great. Okay, so before presenting you what we are going to do today, I would just like to share with you some thoughts about sustainable change, because we are speaking all the time about this, and about awareness. So our ultimate goal as coaches, and specifically for us as coaches that belong to the CMA family, that we are using the awareness, clarity, choice conversation, it is to support our clients experience sustainable changes. Meaning those changes that are fully aligned with who they really are. And as Tim Galloway says, and Tim is, called the father of coaching, before you try to change something, you better increase your awareness of it first. So before we support our clients, make the changes that they want to make and achieve the goals that they want to achieve, we should first create the environment for them to heighten their awareness and deepen their self-learning and their understanding of the truth of the issue that they are coming and coaching with. so that they can have the breakthrough that they want and they can experience afterwards the sustainable change. So before moving further, because we are speaking of resources, you know, I would like to ask you to take from the chat, and I would like Ngoc you to put in the chat the link. I would like you all to take the link and put it in the browser and answer the question, what are the resources that you could use to support your clients to heighten their awareness?
Okay, so all you have to do is copy that link that is in the chat box, open your browser, copy it, and just answer the poll. And I'm going to share the results of that poll in a moment. And I think we are going to take 2 minutes, Alina, to do that. Okay.
That's great. Yeah. So we can see it in the meantime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So can you see it? Yeah. All right.
Okay. Now, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Here we are. How can I?
So what are the resources that you could use to support your clients to heighten their awareness?
So we have different answers here, reflect different perspectives, being creative, inquiry-based questions, space.
Space, yeah, development, a rapport, powerful questions.
Yeah.
Empathy, active listening, mindfulness practices, journal reflections, deep thinking.
Also interesting.
Yeah, reflecting back. Yeah, assessment. Yeah. Good.
Right. Okay. So all these are, yes, powerful tools that we can use during the coaching, in the coaching space. Yeah.
Okay. Reflection and metaphor.
Yes.
Metaphor, visualization. Powerful questions. Great. Good.
Right. Okay. So how
Yeah.
many answers we have now? I don't know.
You can
Okay. Do you think, is that enough? Do you think that's enough, Alina?
Yeah, I think yes, we can
All
come back.
right. Okay, so the what is coming more frequently are reflection, powerful questions, and metaphor.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Good. So I will come back to the, okay.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I can, okay, yeah, great. So, so what we're going to do today is to heighten our awareness on how to use artistic intelligences as resources, having two purposes in mind. One is to support our clients to experience sustainable changes, as I said. And the second one is for our own growth and development as coaches. Because how we coach is who we are and who we are is how we coach. It is very important for us to grow ourselves, and this is also mentioned in the coaching industry standards, meaning in the ICF core competency, coaching embodies a coaching mindset. It is mentioned that the coach should engage in ongoing learning and development. So complementary to our awareness, clarity, choice conversation that we use in CMA, in Coach Masters Academy, we will explore today different additional resources. And regarding resources, thinking of, you know, I remember that 6 years ago when I started coaching, it was very important for me to have as many resources as possible, to learn as many tools as possible so that I can support my clients in different ways. And looking back, I realized that those tools were actually, and most importantly, shaping me as a person and as a coach. And the second thing that I realized is that those resources all contain actually art in them in a way or another, whether it was about movement or visual cards or spatial explorations or painting or, you know, energetic medicine. So yeah, we have a lot of resources, and we are going to explore some of them today. So I will now present you a little bit the agenda for today. We structure it in three parts. First part is the theoretical one, in which we are going to share with you some of the latest researches on how the left and the right hemisphere of our brain function. And here we are also going to discuss about multiple intelligences and how we can connect to our right brain, the so-called creative brain, by tapping into these different intelligences. The second part has two dimensions, as I said. One is focused on you, expanding your coaching toolkit. So here we are going to present you some case studies, real life examples on how we use different creative tools to support our clients access their right brain, and what was the impact in their lives of them having that experience. And the second dimension is focused on you, because we strongly believe that the way to do coaching is meaning to live in the spirit of coaching. We invite you here to have your own short experience of tapping into some of your artistic intelligences to heighten your awareness about the four archetypal energies that we embody while coaching. And we are going to explore a little bit their connection to the right and the left hemispheres, and also how they can support us actually in demonstrating the core competencies in coaching. And the last part is for questions and answers, and I hope that we will have enough time for that. So we invite you to keep the questions till the end. You know, we want to share so many things with you, and okay, great. So now I will give the floor to you, Ngoc, to you know, share with us how the left and the right hemisphere of our brain are working.
Thank you, Alina. Thank you. So yes, you know that the popular culture has a saying that the right brain or the right hemisphere is the creative brain, and the left hemisphere is the rational or logical brain. Well, actually, it's not that simple. Neuroscience informs us that the difference between the two hemispheres is actually about how each of them, each part of the brain experiences and processes the world around us. And what is happening is that the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere create two distinct realities that are quite opposed to each other's. And although they do cooperate, there is a conflict and a power struggle between the two of them. I'm trying to, okay, Alina, yeah. Can you please give me the remote control? I lost it.
Done.
So, yeah. Okay, so in a very left brain approach, we are going to look into the workings of the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. All right, okay, so here is the left hemisphere, right? So when engaging with the outside world, the left hemisphere gives a narrow, sharply focused attention to details, and it's very rational. It works, it's processing information in a very systematic mode, and the way it perceives reality is a representation of that reality. It's like it's the left hemisphere is filtering and organizing all the informations, putting some symbols or wording on the reality that it is capturing. And to use a visual image for that left brain, I would use a map. Is that the reality that is processed through the right brain is similar to that of a map. It's a virtual reality. So the working mode of this left hemisphere is that it's analyzing, describing, and organizing. And what the left hemisphere is comfortable with is consistency. And this is where we find, you know, our clients when they are stuck in their story. It's because their brain is processing, is looking for information, so that their world is very stable, so that everything that comes through or from the left brain feeds that consistency that they are very comfortable with. In contrast, the attention given by the right hemisphere to the world is a sustained, open, broad, and vigilant alertness. And what we can say is that the right hemisphere is experiencing the world in its whole. It sees things in context, flowing in time and in space. It makes connections in an intuitive mode. So that's why we also say that the right hemisphere is the non-thinking hemisphere. It perceives the world as a whole reality as opposed to a map. And it perceives this whole reality with all its evolving nuances of colors, flavors, texture, emotions, and sounds. And the right hemisphere is more comfortable with is more comfortable with paradox and complexity due to the way it is processing the world. So at this point, we see that in coaching, listening to the right hemisphere is crucial to help our clients to heighten their awareness and see beyond their current reality. When they are able to activate their right hemisphere, it unleashes insights and they are able to see possibilities. And it opens up our clients. And this is where the shift happens in transformative coaching, actually. But what does it have to do with art? Well, Alina and I, and I'm sure many of you, believe that the domains of arts can give more power to our competencies of evoking awareness. And in ICF core competencies, evoking awareness is about facilitating the client's insights and learning by using tools and techniques such as powerful questioning, silence, metaphor, and analogies. And to support that idea, I'm going to talk a bit about the concept of multiple intelligences. So this is a theory that was invented by psychologist Howard Gardner. And it holds that the humans possess at least 8 different intelligences that are distinct from the intelligence that is measured by IQ, you know, that intelligence that involves our abilities in mathematics, reasoning, and linguistics. So what are those 8 intelligences? So there are the ones that we are using in our coaching practice. That is the interpersonal intelligence, that is awareness of others and how we interact and communicate with other people. There's the verbal and linguistic, of course, and and the logical, that connects all our thoughts. And there is the intrapersonal intelligence, which is about self-awareness. And there is also the naturalistic intelligence, that is about how we can distinguish among the animals, the plants, the types of rocks, weather patterns, etc. And finally, there are those three artistic intelligences that are the visual, spatial intelligence, the musical intelligence, and the bodily kinesthetic intelligence. And when we use metaphors in coaching, we are actually tapping into the visual spatial intelligence. About the bodily kinesthetic intelligence, it's about body movements, muscular movements, physical activity, and coordinations. And when we are using those three intelligences, being picture smart, being music smart, and being body smart, then we can powerfully facilitate the access to the right hemisphere information. And that is the non-thinking brain, the right hemisphere. This is where intuition, insights, gut and heart feelings operate or are born. Yeah. So now Alina is going to bring together all of this. Yeah, the theory about the left and right hemisphere and the multiple intelligence. And she's going to integrate all that from a coaching perspective. Back to you, Alina.
Okay, thank you, Ngoc. Thank you very much. So yeah, let's see how we integrate this and how we bring them to coaching actually. So and our answer to that is through art, obviously, today. And I will refer here to the research of the scientist and psychiatrist Ian McGilchrist, who states that the two hemisphere actually creates opposing worlds for us. One that is seeing the parts and the other one that is seeing the whole. And he also states that any new experience comes first to the right hemisphere. And then when it becomes familiar enough, it moves to the left hemisphere, who represents it. So also both of them cooperate to create the recognizable world for us. There is also a conflict between them. And it seems that this conflict is the conflict that our clients experience. So the right hemisphere see things as a whole and the way they work together. And it's comfortable with complexity and with paradox, values emotions and allow us to get access to unconscious emotions that we feel in our body. And it's specialized in non-verbal communications. That's why it's the home of the metaphors. It is also silent. It has a vocabulary of its own, but it relies on the left hemisphere to deliver it. It is intuitive, is deductive, and it relates to things as they are in the present moment. It is also non-temporal. It sees time in a continuous flow. It gives us a sense of a feeling of being without a sense of time. It is through the right hemisphere that we see the world around us in constant change, with no moment being the same as the next one. For instance, like a river that is in constant change, always the same, but still not the same. So this constant change is the way the right hemisphere is experiencing. On the other hand, the left hemisphere is logical, is linear, is temporal, is keeping track of time. Its function is to create a stable world for us. Therefore, it's not comfortable with complexity or with paradox. And it also has the function to break things into parts, to categorize, to name, to label, to isolate things, and then create the whole from the parts. The downside of it is that by doing so, it may fail to achieve the whole as it is in reality. So in the example with the river, our left hemisphere is giving us a label, river. And together with this label come certain rules that enable us to use that label to any experience that may have that fits that rule. So we are very comfortable then with the fact that the river is in constant change because we stabilize it in a concept, that of a river. And doesn't matter if it's one river or another, as long as it fits the rule. So the left hemisphere is also the vocal one because here is where the speech resides. So in its attempt to create that stable world for us, the left hemisphere acts as an interpreter by constantly suppressing data that is coming from the right hemisphere and throwing it simply to the unconscious, or by jumping in with explanation of its own to keep us comfortable and certain, but probably wrong. So there are suggestions also from the scientists that these explanations provided by the left hemisphere interpreter may also enhance the opinion of people that people have about themselves, producing beliefs that may stop them from seeing the reality of their situation and maintaining patterns of behaviors that may not be helpful. So therefore, in the context of the left hemisphere dominance, seems obvious why clients get stuck in thinking loops and maintain unhelpful patterns of behaviors and thinking, or simply are not open to new information. So being stuck in the left hemisphere represented world, they may be to focus on what they already know, simply ignoring the new information that is not fitting the model. So the breakthrough is not possible. So what is needed here for the breakthrough to be possible is for the left hemisphere to reduce its dominance so that they leave more space for the right hemisphere to come in with a complete and true picture. And we can do that by using the artistic intelligences. And therefore using art in coaching is a fast and powerful way to allow more space to the right hemisphere to jump in and to reduce the dominance of the left hemisphere, so helping the truth of the issue emerge, breaking through the thinking loops, heightening the awareness and deepening the learning about the unhelpful patterns so that they can be changed. Good. So enough with the speaking. So let's play a little bit, and we are going to experience here the ability of the right hemisphere to see things as a whole versus the ability of the left hemisphere to build a whole from parts, and the challenges that this brings to communication and to understanding. And I will stop sharing for a moment. Oh, if I can. Oh, yeah, great. Okay, good. So here I would need a volunteer.
I think it needs to be a panelist, because if not, we won't have the video on.
Oh, yeah.
So we would like someone from the faculty to volunteer for this exercise.
Would be great, yeah, to have one of you. I will invite you all anyway to do the exercise. It's a short one, so but I will need someone to speak to, so that's why I need a volunteer. So who would like to play a little bit?
Or look, Alina, I have Mahmoud Alaish. Mahmoud, you just, oh no.
Yeah. Yes,
You raised your hand, so does it mean that you would like to volunteer for our little...
Yes, of course, I don't mind.
Okay, great. So in this case, I'm going to promote you to panelist so that we can see you on video. All right, so are you able to turn on your video now? Mahmoud?
Mute. There you go.
Oh, great.
Great.
Okay.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Thank you for jumping in. Thank you for volunteering here. Great.
Why?
Okay. Good. So what I would like to ask you now to do is, first of all, to you are not allowed, to use your hands. So I would ask you to sit on your hands, to be sure.
Okay. There you go.
You're restrained.
Okay, great. So and when you feel comfortable, as comfortable as you can in this position,
I'm fine. I'm
Okay,
fine. I usually
great.
do this a lot, so it's okay.
Great. I would like to ask you now to describe a spiral staircase, and try not to move, just describe it verbally.
Okay, I'm an architect. I want to confess that. So let's hope I do it.
Yeah.
So it is it's a spiral case. It's a staircase that takes you from one floor to another. It is not normally designed as most of the residential or commercial, or actually commercial buildings are designed. So it's a stair that goes on a spiral manner, in which at one side of the stair base, the dimensions is smaller than the other side of the stair. I call it base. I don't know what it's called in English. I forgot. So we have at least 32 steps. That's what I meant by base. We have at least 32 steps to go up there. The rise is about 15 centimeters, and the width of the stairs is about 40 centimeters from one side, and it's about 15 centimeters from the other side. Normally, they are used for big palaces or for shops, in which it saves space in the case of shops, and it gives luxury in the case of the big palaces. It takes a lot of space, meter squared wise, and it's very beautiful when you do have space to design as an architect, but it's terrible when you are limited in the design, in the space. Sometimes it is dangerous, especially when used in place where elderly are involved, and sometimes it's used. The material of the stairs is steel, sometimes it's wood, sometimes it's concrete. It is. I much prefer when it's contemporary, like glass and steel. So I don't know if that's enough.
Great, wow. That was a really technical story about the staircase. Yeah, great, thank you. Thank you very much. And what I would like you to do now, Mahmoud, thank you.
My hands off. Can I take my hands off?
Yeah, exactly, to free your hands. That's good, huh? What a relief. Okay, so to free your hands, and now you can use your hands, or can use your body. You can do what you are inspired to do to describe a spiral staircase. So describe it now when you are free.
Oh, so you want me to describe it now?
Mm-hmm. Now when you are free and you're...
Yeah. Actually, as an architect, I love to design spiral staircases, especially during this modern time architecture. I've been designing for almost, the last time I designed was like 20 years ago. But when I designed, I used to think it's a part of a luxury of a house to have a spiral case in which it's going up, until one design was done in a villa for a family member. I did not do it, but I saw the penalty of designing a spiral case. If it's not designed well and professionally, it could be a disaster, which is the case in this private villa. She now suffers. They made it like almost 9 meter high, or actually, not to exaggerate, about 6 meter high stairwell in which she has to go up. Now she is in her late 60s. She has a knee problem. So spiral case do have two meanings. They could be disastrous, or they could be joyful in the home.
Wow. Wow, Mahmoud. Okay, so the specialist came here. I can see that. And a lot of technical details. So yeah.
My hand right away. I said, me, it's me.
I didn't think of it so deep, but thank you very much for joining and for playing with us.
I'm loving this.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Mahmoud. So, yeah, so what is happening in the first case, you know, what I saw is that, you know, the left hemisphere it's not having the words to say it, is looking for them and is struggling. And then it's kind of, you know, I saw that you, Mahmoud, you had a movement of your head, you know, when you try to describe it. So what happened then, it was the right hemisphere that is silent, wanted to come in and to use the nonverbal communication to support, to help. While in the second case, when you were free, when you describe it, actually, it was as simple as that. So it was in an instant that you described the spiral staircase. So what happened is the right hemisphere has virtually and spatially described it very effectively and very quickly, and as a whole, yeah. Okay, so yeah, what is happening when we are describing, in this case, the spiral staircase, by using the visually imagery of our hands, is actually that we are experiencing it and knowing it by kind of being in it. So we just know and experience it. And this is the way the right hemisphere is experiencing. So when working with our clients, now coming back to coaching, you know, when working with our clients, they are often coming in coaching with quite complex and paradoxical things and issues. So for instance, clients may be dealing with emotional or relational complexities. They may be managing conflicting values or tensions between the should and the want. And being able to work with these complexities is critically important for them so that they can make sense of them and they can move powerfully through them. But however, these complexities and paradoxes are not so easy to express or to work with, because the right hemisphere doesn't have the words to say it, and the left hemisphere is continuously suppressing the data because it wants to keep us safe. So if we want that breakthrough to happen, then we have to communicate with the right hemisphere. And this is possible in coaching when we are supporting our clients use their artistic intelligences, because then coaching becomes an embodied experience, like replicating the right hemisphere way of seeing things as a whole with all the complexities inside. And what is happening there is that the client's image making process, whether it's in the form of a drawing or an image on a card or an image, visual image created in their head, or a symbol or a metaphor, it allows them to externalize the complexity of their experience into that safe space, the visually created space. So this is making it easier for them to explore it and to understand it. And now I will go back to the share screen. And okay, great. So in coaching, actually, we have many tools that we can use to support our clients tap into their artistic intelligences. And today we are going to present you some of them. You know, metaphoric language, cards, drawings, visualization, movement, spatial belief change, and music. And the first case that we are going to present you today is using a tool that I love. And I love it because I saw it bringing magic to so many clients. And this is the metaphor. So my experience is that when using metaphors, you can truly support your client to change their frame of reference in an instant, therefore making it possible for them to unblock and to move forward powerfully. So in this specific case, I will give you a little bit of context. The leader was new in the company when coming to coaching, started coaching. He was taking the lead of the IT department, in which the turnovers was really high. So we worked on stabilizing his team, and he successfully did that in a few months, which was a really big achievement. Still, in this specific conversation, he came with a sense of feeling drained, and in the interactions with the people in his department, he felt blocked and frustrated in these interactions, and without an evident possibility for him to move forward. So we explored that in our conversation. So when I asked him how he actually sees himself in the situation, he interestingly portrayed himself by using a metaphor. And you see here the base of our awareness, clarity, choice conversation. I'm going through all that, this frame that we are using in Coach Masters Academy. So in the awareness part of our conversation, he became aware of the fact that he want to have a different kind of interaction with his people. And connecting with the metaphor, he actually became aware of the behaviors that he had. Like, for instance, him being available and ready to help all the time, and to the emotions like frustration, and to the values and beliefs. And because he really mentioned that he values the connection that he built with his people, because he believed that by being available, he will honor his value of contribution in their lives and in making this connection with them. So, in the clarity part of the conversation, I asked him what it is that he would like to be instead. And while he was narrating the answer, I noticed some changes in him. So it was like his voice was changing, like becoming more firm, and the words that he used, like bigger perspective and posture, became more firm and straight, and the energy changed. It's like everything becoming more alive. And then an image came to my mind, and I asked him if I can share, and he said yes. And the image was of a conductor who obviously was not involved in the work that people in the orchestra were doing, but rather leading the way by pointing out the essential moments when each player in the orchestra should play their part. And after a few long moments of silence, he just said, yeah, this is it. So he was kind of able to connect through the new metaphor with the desired state. So he said, I know exactly what I want now. And I also know that I want to keep the relationship, the great relationship that I built with these people. But I know and I feel somehow that I can do it differently now. And this differently was actually in a more empowering way. Because by embodying the metaphor, he was able to see things as a whole, and having that experience of a sense of empowerment and envisioning new behaviors. He mentioned already, oh, I will have these meetings one-to-one, and I will have the team interactions to support the empowerment. And he also realized that he can maintain honoring his value of contribution by also honoring another value that he has, the trust. And and through this embodiment of the new metaphor, he also discovered the new belief. Because when I asked him, what new thinking would you need to embrace that would support you to make this a reality for yourself? His answer was, when I trust them, I can contribute. So, and this is the way, and this is the kind of relationship that I want with these people, based on trust and not on availability. So this experience, I could say that actually supported him to take his power back, changing from being available and therefore drained in these relationships to being a leader who trusts, empowers, and inspires. And in the choice conversation, he interestingly chose to use the image of the conductor as an anchor, and he put it in the computer screen and to support himself being accountable for implementing the new thinking and behaviors that he decided to have. Yeah. Okay, great. So now I would leave the floor to you, Ngoc, to share with us some new stories about new resources that we use, like visual art.
Okay, great, awesome. So Alina, would you,
Yeah.
Okay, great.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
Thank you. So now I'm going to share with you an example about coaching with visual arts. So, okay, I recently came across a book called Coaching Beyond Words, and I wish the screen would move, but it doesn't.
If not, I
What's
will.
happening? Yes, please. No.
You can put it on presentation. Can you manage it or not? If not, I will do it, Ngoc.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great. Let's. Okay, great.
Yes, so the book I read recently was Coaching Beyond Words, and it's written by a professional coach who has many years of experiences with coaching with visual arts. So she's using drawing, painting, and modeling, sculpting. And, you know, I wish that I had learned earlier from this book, because during the lockdown, I had all my, my sessions online. And I had some clients that were so much, very much into their heads that it came, at one point, it was excruciating, you know, to try to get them to take a step aside and be more observant about themselves. So I caught myself thinking, if only we were in the same room, I could invite them to crystallize their experience in a drawing. So I haven't had the chance to apply this tool yet, but I'm going to use an example from the book, the drawings, and I'm going to show you how I would do it in my own practice, coaching practice, using the CMA framework. And I'm very, very confident about this. So can you please, okay. So this is the story of Sam. Sam is a director who joined her organization 7 months ago, and her mission is to lead change within this organization. And she's feeling very frustrated by the tensions between change and growth in the organization. And she has noticed that her outlook is quite different from that of the others in her teams or from her colleagues. So the initial coaching objective is for her to explore these tensions and how to manage them to achieve her objective. So this is a drawing, the first drawing that she produced in her first conversation, exploring her role within the organization. So you see that this is a circle, and within the circles there are small circles that are like that are being held by some sort of stems. There are some roots, and so this is her visual description of the organization. And in this example, at one point, the coach asked Sam where she is in that picture, and that's when Sam realizes that she is not actually in that picture. So continuing the exploration, then the coach asked her to pay some more attention and effort in trying to represent herself. And this is how she represents herself. So she is actually here in that pink circle, but she is outside of the organization, of the big green circle representing, symbolizing the organization. So that's when she has her first realizations that she is not actually part. She does not feel part. She does not feel like she's belonging into that structure. And the second realization that she has is that she is different. She feels different. And this is what she calls her otherness. So from that session, she decides to focus, to explore more about this feeling different. And so in the second session, she's creating a second visual, that is this one, and that is representing herself within the organization. So she is this orangish, reddish curve, surrounded by small circles that are of different colors. And but when exploring, talking about this image, then she realizes that this feeling difference, this otherness of herself does not have to be a burden, that it's a burden that is linked to the past, but that she can actually embrace that otherness and transform it into an asset for her organization. And this is where the transformational shift happens for Sam. So if we look at this conversation from a ACC framework perspective, then the first thing we have to do is that in the contracting phase of contracting the coaching agreement, we have to explain to the client what we mean by art and what is the purpose of us using art in the coaching conversation. So art here, it's meant as a vehicle for self-expression. It has nothing to do with a piece of art. And the purpose of using art for her is to unlock the hidden and the hidden significance of her being, and to heighten her awareness about her situation and what she needs to change. So while doing that, we are tapping into the core competencies number 3, coaching agreement, and core competencies number 4, trust and safety. And once we have done that, and that the client has agreed to use art as a form of coaching, then there is a mindfulness moment. And here it's about, slowing down the left hemisphere so that it preps the client to access a state of flow that will allow her to visualize an image of her in her organization. And then when she has started to create that picture of the organization, then as a coach, you can ask her question about the significance, the meaning of each symbol that is presented. What is the meaning of this color? What is the meaning of the weight of this line, and what is this circle, etc., etc. So that's where, as I shared before, that's where Sam realizes that she is not included in the organization. So that's the first part of the awareness conversation. And then we move into the clarity conversation, where we help her explore her representation of herself. So again, asking the questions about the meaning of the circles, the colors, and so on. So there, we can see that she has represented herself as a pink circle, so a distinctive color, and she's kind of pushing herself into the organization that is symbolized by those lines here. So it's really put into light the fact that she is not belonging, that she's kind of fighting her way in the organization. So in the next part of the conversation, that is uh, the choice conversation, then we explore what that otherness means and what she wants to do about this. So that's when she refocused her coaching objective on managing this otherness and transforming that feeling into something that will help her achieve change in an effective way in the organization. So in this case, we saw how the use of art is giving a voice to the silent right hemisphere. It's the visual language had the effect to take off the pressure of having to explain everything. By using visual art, Sam was able to let go, you know, of finding the right words, describing her situation in a way that is accurately corresponding to her. So it's really a freeing process, this way of expressing herself through other artistic means. And it stopped her from being over analytical. And by doing so, by using visual arts, the client was working with her intuition in the process. And by activating the visual language, the coaching intervention was fast-tracked actually to the right hemisphere and to the unconscious of the client. So this, I think, is a very powerful tool if we are able to master it. And then now I would like to share another example of using visual art in coaching, that is the use of photographs. So here I use some pictures in a work-life balance workshop when I was working with a team that was experiencing a very demanding time where there was a lot of reshuffling and reorganization. So the team was undergoing a lot of stress, and the team leader, manager, she identified that need to for the team to reflect on their work-life balance. So the cards here are supporting the awareness conversation in the CMA framework. And I used it to help the participants to quickly connect with their situation by asking them, what does your life look like today? So they had to pick the picture that was the most resonating with their situation. And then we start to expand their minds by asking them questions like the reason why, what is resonating with them, what is connecting to their own work-life situation, etc., etc. What made them choose their cards? And then I asked them, and what is it that you want to change in the picture? What is the desired situation, the new desired situation that they want? And I met, at this point, I made them work in pairs so that they could share to one another in a more private mode, let's say. Then we moved into the clarity conversation, and we put the cards away. And starting from that thing that they want to change, from that picture, I asked them, and what is it that you want more, or what is it that you want less? And to answer that, we explored some models and tools to help them find ways to achieve a better work-life balance. So for instance, I shared a tool called the 4 well springs of energy, that's saying that our energy is built from our body, our emotions, our mind, or our focus, and our spirit. And then we also talked about the life career rainbow, that is about the 8 different life roles that all of us are having in different stages of our life. So just very quickly, those 8 roles are the child, the student, the leisureite, the citizen, the worker, the parent, the spouse, and the homemaker. So with those tools, they were able, to clarify what they really wanted as in those different roles that they have in their lives. And then finally, we moved into the choice conversation when we talked about strategies and accountability and designing actions. And again, they worked in pair and making each other's accountable. So this use of the photographs is a very powerful prompt, to help the client to have this shortcut, to have a shortcut towards the right hemisphere. And it's very pleasant, and it's different. It really gets them out of the only analyzing and reflective mode. All right, so now I would like to talk to you about another kind of coaching intervention that I have been practicing for a year now, and it's about movement and life coaching. And some of you may know that I'm very passionate about dancing, so this is my second passion apart from coaching. So I really felt, the impulse, the inspiration to bring them together. So I started to organize some classes and workshops to try to experiment this. And I must say that I was very happy to have achieved a very interesting experience with one group. And it was a series of workshops about creating more happiness, and it was conducted last year with a group of non-dancers. So that's a very important thing also, is that here we are tapping into the musical and the bodily kinesthetic intelligences, and people do not have to have any experience in dancing to express themselves through those two intelligences. So this is what happened during this workshop, and I called it the hedgehog emotional response because what is it? So the story is that the participants wanted to work on their social interactions. So we talked and agreed on this, that we chose the topic together. And they had, very interestingly, they had in common a behavior that was very insecure and and um, and unhappy, actually. They had unhappy relationships with people that they didn't know, with colleagues at work, because they felt, whenever they felt challenged, they would respond by shutting down or by being aggressive. So they felt that this was not helpful at all, and was bringing a lot of insecurities and a lot of unhappiness in their work and in their life. So after exploring their behavior, I asked them to share an image that would best symbolize their behavior, and they agreed on that hedgehog. And starting from there, by using that metaphor of the hedgehog, this is when they started to enter, to open their right hemisphere and listen to it. And starting from there, I turned on the music, and I asked them that with this image of the hedgehog in mind, I invited them to express in bodily movements what they were feeling. So in their movements, they showed how the hedgehog was behaving when it was defending itself, and how the hedgehog was behaving when it was um, attacking itself, when it was being more aggressive. So by using all those metaphoric language of the body, they were able to embody their experience. They were reliving their situation when they were challenged by other people. And as the right hemisphere was expressing itself, they were improvising those movements, they were improvising movements, and up to a point when it was liberating. Actually, it became a cathartic experience for them when they were able to express, to let out and to let go of their negative emotions. What happened here is that the physical activity boosts their self-confidence. When you're able to uh, strongly express your emotions through your body, through movements, then this brings you a lot of self-confidence, because it's quite a vulnerable place, you know, to move in front of people that you don't know. And when they were able to achieve that, it boosted their confidence in themselves. The physical activity also produces serotonin and dopamine, and these are the hormones that play a role in heightening the mood and positivity, and it facilitates access to seeing possibles, to seeing more possibilities, because the mind is broadened. So at this point, when I see that they have reached that cathartic experience, I ask them to connect to the change that they want, what they want to replace, what kind of behavior they would like to have, and what it would look like, you know, to be more comfortable and at ease, to be more happier with other people. And again, I ask them to express that into movements and to connect to the new sensations and feelings that were emerging. And at one point, I recognized that they were expressing a more positive energy. So then I invited them to enjoy that moment and to connect to the positive sensations, feelings, and emotions. And finally, I slowed down the exercise and I brought it to an end. And then from a very still position, I asked them to talk about that experience. And from now on, we brought back together the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. And I asked them to identify a new symbol to illustrate that new experience of happiness and confidence. And they agreed on the image of a seagull. So we explored that image, and for them it was the expression of being more observant and less caught in their behaviors, of being stronger, being more choiceful about how to better relate with other people. And it was also an expression of self-love. So this was the clarity conversation. And finally, we moved into the choice conversation when we shared tools about how to better manage their emotions and some practices like journaling to help them be more grounded in the present moment and increase their self-appreciation. Right, so I'm now going to stop sharing the screen. Can I? Or Alina, can you? So when designing this movement and coaching practice, I was guided by CMA Awareness, Clarity and Choice Framework. And I was guided by the core competencies of presence and creating trust and safety for the participants. The movement and coaching interventions are particularly powerful when working with the emotions, because the movement liberates the expression of what the client wants to say, but without using words. And maybe it would be too difficult for them actually to express those emotions into words, to put words into what they are feeling. So again, movement and coaching gives the right hemisphere a voice by unleashing the bodily kinesthetic intelligence and the musical intelligence. And here, the right hemisphere expresses through movement an emotional complexity that the client would not express otherwise, because it's too difficult to identify and to describe with words. So continuing our exploration of the visual and bodily kinesthetic intelligences in coaching, Alina will now share a case study using the spatial belief change tool with one of her clients. So back to you, Alina.
Okay. Oh, great. Yep. Thank you, Ngoc. Yeah, so we will continue with another case study from the leadership. In this case study, I used a tool that supported my client to connect with her facial, body, and visual intelligences. So I decided to share this case study with you, not only because of the tool itself. The spatial belief change is a dedicated tool to support clients change limiting beliefs, but also because of the type of learning that this client had during the experience and the impact of this experience in her activity, and also I would say in her life. So this leader was the head of product and project development department, and the subject she came in coaching with was her perceived inability to fully and boldly express herself when she had different opinions regarding new projects from the opinions of some of the board members. So it was related to her assertiveness. And as a result, she felt really trapped in projects that she didn't want to be in and didn't believe in. And the results were the ones that she didn't want it. And also, and most importantly, she felt a demotivation. And despite the fact that she was a highly knowledgeable and very responsible and loyal and really a big contributor to the bottom line of the company. So in our conversation, she said that she don't feel too much joy, and she feels this urge to do everything perfectly, like nothing is ever enough. And she said that she's having this expressing thing. Yeah, so at a certain point in the conversation, she actually verbalized the belief that I reflected back to her, because she was clearly not aware of what she was saying. And the belief sounded like that. All my successes are due to circumstances, and all my failures are due to myself. And when playing it back to her, and when having this realization that is holding that belief, it became clear for her that this is keeping her small. And in that moment, the conversation, I felt that that belief was so deeply ingrained that I proposed her to have another experience, a different kind of experience than the normal conversation that the usual coaching conversation that we would have. And I explained her about this tool, the spatial belief change, and I told her what is doing. And actually the purpose is to support the client release and transform the limiting belief, and in the same time create a new empowering belief to replace the old one. And she said yes, that she wanted to experience that, and she really wanted to have that breakthrough. So what she did, practically she moved towards the 4 spaces marked on the floor like you see here. When stepping in each space, the client is embodying a specific state, because it's bringing there to life all the 5 senses: the visual, the hearing, the taste, the smell, the kinesthetics through movement and body sensations. So what happened in the first space of the old limiting belief, it was that she had to localize in her body and rate the intensity with which she felt when thinking about that belief. And it was clear and obvious that some strong emotions came up for her, and the image of her mother, a single mother who raised her 2 children alone, and so on. So many things came up in that point of exploration. And then in the second stage, in the space of the positive purpose that old belief had for her, she actually had to answer questions like, what was holding that belief achieved for you so far? And what will continuing to achieve that will do for you? And also here, she had the opportunity to acknowledge and to appreciate the positive intention that that belief had for her, because she had the profound realization that by holding that belief, she was actually able to access and use her inner strength of doing things in the best way possible, with responsibility and with care. So in the same time, it was kind of easy for her to let it go and then move to the third space of redefining the belief, because she was realizing that this belief is not serving her any longer. So in this, stepping into the third space, a few things happened here. First, she became aware of the fact that continuing to hold on into that belief would actually impede her from honoring two of her values, trust and love. And secondly, I asked her to do a few things, one after the other. First thing was to create and to watch a mental movie of the actions that she took as a result of holding that limiting belief. And when she confirmed that she pictured that in her mind, I asked her, how would you prefer to behave instead? And then asked her to run a mental movie of how she would like to behave. And the final thing that I asked her was to identify that belief, the new belief, the empowering belief that would support the behaviors and experiences that she wanted to have. And two things happened here. First thing was that she realized, she had that realization that she is actually doing her best and that this is enough. And secondly, she identified that new empowering belief, which sounded like, I create my own future regardless of circumstances, and I do what I believe in and not what others think I should do. And more than these realizations even, the fact that she experienced those movies in her head gave her, or opened up for her, a new perspective, a new way to look at the way she was interacting with those people and the way she was expressing herself. And she said at a certain point, I know exactly what to say. And she said, I cannot see the movie. And I remember her coming back in our next session, and she said, about the silence that she produced when she said that, she said, I cannot see the movie here. Because the other person said, well, if you don't see the movie, then we have a problem here. So what do we need to do so that you can see it? And from then on, the real conversation started and between them. So just to finish with the process, sorry. In the last stage of our experience together, she was embodying that new belief, and she has to rate it also. But the exercise is not ending there. The exploration is ending when she is coming back to the old limiting belief and has to rate it again. But the point is that this client, and it's happening in different ways with different clients, but this client could not really even connect it back to the old limiting belief. So I would say that during this experience of deep transformation happened for her, because from then on she was a different person. She came to coaching like with higher energy and a clear motivation, and not only to express herself, but also to innovate and to initiate projects. So she became a highly appreciated and recognized resource for companies' growth and profitability. Yeah. So now I would like to move to the last part of our experience together today. And this is for you, And this is a short musical experience dedicated to our own development, because how we coach is who we are, and who we are is how we coach. And that's why it's very important for us to take care of our own state of being, our thoughts, our feelings, our energy, so that then we are able to create that space for our clients of trust and openness and freedom to express own creativity and to challenge own thinking and behaviors. And most importantly, that space in which they could see themselves as whole and complete and fully accountable human beings. And in order to do that, we should first become aware of the 4 archetypal energies that we embody while coaching. And we will do that through a short experience of tapping into your musical and kinesthetical intelligences through body sensations, meant to heighten your awareness on how each of these energies show up and support us in coaching. Because when we are aware of them, we can nurture them within ourselves. And then we can create the appropriate environment for our clients to access their own archetypal energies, so that we can co-create that coaching bubble, as we say, that energetic bubble, where our clients can get the most out of our coaching interaction. So we will explore a little bit the connection between the 4 archetypal energies and the left and the right brain hemispheres, and also how these energies show up in different moments of the coaching conversation. So, and support us to demonstrate the core competencies, actually. So I will invite you to experience these 4 archetypal energies through music. And while listening, I would just like to ask you to allow yourself to hear and to feel the music, to feel what you feel, to notice what you feel, and how maybe your posture is changing. Notice everything that happens within you while going through these pieces of music. And also observe and sense the different energy that each piece of music is bringing to you, and try to connect it with the way that you are experiencing different moments in the coaching conversation. So the 4 archetypal energies are king or queen, warrior, magician, and lover. And please just tell me, Ngoc, if you can hear. Being in the king or queen archetypal energy means having a vision, a cause, establishing a structure and order. And this energy is connected with the intellect, our left brain, and with the well-being, our feminine energy. And in coaching, this energy shows up when we support our clients to set coaching agreement.
That's too loud.
I will put it, no, I saw it. Thank you. So the warrior archetypal energy brings focus and clear boundaries, strong discipline, and courage to act. And it is connected to our intellect, brain, and to our confidence, the masculine energy. And we feel this energy in coaching when we support our clients to define action, manage progress, and accountability. We are in the archetypal energy when we, as well as our clients, our own intelligence, and we get in access to our spiritual life and we are able to see from different perspectives. This energy is connected with confidence, our masculine energy, and with intuition, our right brain. In coaching, we embody this energy when we demonstrate actively our purpose and better communication.
Argentina, Buenos Aires.
And finally, we are in the lover archetypal energy when we are able to tap into our intuitive knowing and when we embody compassion and connection. And here is about our intuitive and about our well-being family. And we embody this energy while we are creating trust and safety, and when we demonstrate coaching.
Over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby.
Okay, I just want to close by adding that for me, coaching is art. And when using art in coaching, we are just bringing magic to our clients and to ourselves. And I wish you to bring magic and be magical in your coaching and in your lives. Okay, great. So I think we can stop sharing now. No?
Yes, yes, totally. Thank you, Alina. Thank you. And just a note, because it's 9:30 Vietnam, so 10:30 Singapore time. So maybe some our friends wish to leave us. But before you go, for people who need to go, I would like to remind you and invite you to the coaching, the live coaching demonstration that will happen in a little while at what is it? At 9 p.m. Sorry, 9 p.m. Dubai time. So be there to witness another artful demonstration in our CPD. All right, so this said, parenthesis closed. So I think that now we are going to close our presentation and we will open the stage to questions and answers. So just to wrap up, I would just like to say that as professional coaches, we are all nurturing a coaching intelligence as we're developing ourselves to bring positive and sustainable change for our clients. And Alina and I, we hope that today we have ignited some curiosity in you to explore some artistic areas and see if there would be of some values for you to expand your coaching repertoire and using those art forms as a, let's say, to complement the more classical coaching process. So to do that, I would like to invite you to respond to this, to a poll. So this one, it's about coaching and arts. And my question for you is, what is the artistic tool you could explore first or more? Would it be metaphors? Would it be graphic art, photographies, movement, spatial belief change, or the four archetypal energies? So please go ahead and vote, choose for the artistic tool that you are more curious to explore or to experiment. And meanwhile people are voting, maybe we could open the floor to some questions and answers. So please raise your hand or just come on camera and just shout out your questions.
I see a comment that we cannot vote.
Oh, you cannot vote? Really?
Yeah.
How come? Okay, so why not use the chat box? I don't know why we cannot vote.
You can put it in the chat. So what would you want to explore more of from what we shared today?
Okay, can you vote now? So if not,
Yeah. Yes, it started. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, great, awesome. I see a lot of metaphors
Yeah.
for archetypal energies, graphic arts.
Photographies, yeah. And spatial belief
Yeah.
chain. Okay. Good. Great.
Metaphors is top, of course.
Yeah, sure.
Graphic art is second. Yeah, it sounds like these are the two most accessible tools that people are, people are willing to experiment. Yes.
Yeah, we are happy that we ignited something within you.
Yeah,
So more
yeah.
curious now to explore something new and to play with that. Yeah, yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking part in that poll. All right. So now, any questions? Please go ahead.
I have a question.
Yes, Mahmoud, go
I'm
ahead.
still a beginner, actually. I'm just getting a transformative coach certificate. So what can I do to jump to this? Where's the start? Where do I start? I love it.
Well, what did you choose? Which tool did you choose?
I chose the photography, actually, the photographic, the third one.
Well, you could use, you could experiment what I have shared, or you could use in any form, you know, it's a prompt. So it's for you to integrate in your practice, how to use those prompts, you know, to support your clients to access their right hemisphere, their right brain, and it's a form of guided visualization, I would say. Does this answer your question?
Being an engineer, architect mind, you know, I like to start. So are you telling me I could start searching more into how to use those tools, and I can use it at my early stage coaching now?
Yes, you can start with friends. You can, you know, play games, a sort of game, coaching game with them, with using those photographs. And from there, you can build on something that is more systematic.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You turned me on, really turned me on. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you.
And any photographs, from my experience, any photographs will do. So they are so powerful. So you can use whatever is convenient to you and you like to use. And that's great. Yeah. Some other questions? Yeah, Michelle.
Hi, so just to follow up what Mahmoud was saying, just to clarify. So I love the presentation, and I resonate so much with everything that you've said, and I feel very connected to coaching and art. So I just wanted to clarify, so right now I'm in the process of completing my core training. But from what I'm understanding is that I do have the freedom to use some of these tools in my coaching practice, per se, when working with clients, as long as we go through the contractual agreement and I explain to them what these tools will be used for and what we'll be going over. And so, for example, like the art, it's not necessarily art, it's just a way to kind of explore deeper, per se. So we do have that freedom to explore these different ways of going about it. Is that correct?
Yeah, sure. So what we are presenting here is complementary to what we are doing in Coach Masters Academy School. So of course you use the framework and you do all the things that you do normally in coaching, but you can add this different tools when it is the case and when you feel that will support the client, and obviously explain the client and ask the client if he or she agrees on that, on having that experience. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, I would say that as long as you stay in the ICF frame and in CMA HC conversation, and as long as you know what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
then it's fine. You're
Yeah.
free. Yes, totally.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I follow up with a question, please?
Yes, go ahead, Mahmoud.
Anything on your side, in your organization, or in ICF that would help kickstart this for me, like videos, like readings? I mean, to move, if I want to specialize in that area, for example, anything that I can do on my own for this time, aside from the training I'm doing?
You can research, absolutely, yes. There are many resources, many books that are videos. Videos, I'm not sure, but books for sure. You can find them. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So your book, I mean, the book you mentioned, Coaching Beyond Words, is that a good first start? Does it have to do anything with this?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a
That's what I
beautiful
was looking
book. Yeah,
for. Thank you.
actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Hey, hi, Alina and Ngoc. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, hi,
Yeah,
Linda.
yeah,
Hi.
yeah, that's right. Hey, thank you so much for the session. I really enjoyed it so much. It's really very insightful. It's really a while for me. You know, just a quick question, right? That is, if people are more right side-minded, right? They are more artistic. So does that mean that for coaching conversation, they will be I mean, the things that we learn here is going to be easier for them to engage into a meaningful coaching experience. I mean, this is just from your experiences. Is that how that works? I'm just curious.
For sure. This is this is exactly how it is, and then it's so easy to create that bubble and to create together. For instance, when you're using metaphors and you know, co-create on the metaphors and come with other things that are inspiring for the client. And yeah, yes, it's much easier, obviously. Sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's much easier. I wouldn't say that it's more more meaningful coaching experience, though. It's true that artists might have an easier access to their intuition in the coaching space. However, I have worked with some artists, and they were stuck all the same in their thinking brain.
Yeah.
It's just that effectively, yeah, when I was asking them, for instance, to work with uh, how do you call that, mind mapping, for instance, then it would be easier for them to produce a mind map, that's all. But for this client that I have in mind in particular, she was all the same very logical when it was about reflecting about herself and her experience.
Thank you for sharing. Very insightful. Thank you.
Welcome, Linda. Anyone else? No more? Okay, so we are going to count down then. Yeah, so I'm going to count down from 3, 2, 1, and we are going to thank you so much for being with us tonight and for actively sharing your questions and participating in the poll, and enjoy your coaching journey. That's what I would like to tell you. So, Alina, would you like to add something?
Just, be magical.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank
Goodbye.
you both so much. It
Thank you
was a
so much.
beautiful session. Thank you.
I think you can stay on.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye. Bye, everyone. So, Alina.
Alina, where are you based?
In Romania, in Bucharest.
Ah, mashallah. Okay, that's closer than Singapore, and very good.
Yeah.
I hope
Okay.
this level. Have a good evening. Bye.
Yeah, you too. See
All
you
right.
soon.
Bye. Thank you. Okay. So goodbye, Christine. Goodbye, Mahmoud. And goodbye, Gabriela. Rob. We're going to let you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye. So, Christine, I'm going to remove you. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's
Well
Ben.
done.
Hi, Ben.
Hi. Hi, Ben.
Ah, good. You're still recording.
Oh.
Stop.